Carla Fountain, and it is the Aggies that control the opening tip.
And so for Vanderbilt, they'll run some matchup zone, but expect a lot of man-to-man today. The area I'm really focused on is how do they defend the on-ball screen action of Texas A&M.
KK Green, strong to the hoop, and she has been on fire over the last 3 games for Texas A&M, getting the Aggies on the board. For Vanderbilt, coming in 9-12, 0-7 in SEC play. First time since the 2016-2017 season that they started off 0-7 in the conference. A 3 by freshman Jada Brown. Off the mark, and there is Sydney Bowles with the rebound.
And that's the end of the floor I'm eager to see today. Texas A&M's defense that's been so good throughout SEC play against Vanderbilt's offense.
A steal takeaway by Harbison, who goes right in for the layup. Unfortunately, can't make it. A miscue on the opportunity for the grad transfer from St. Louis.
And that's when Harbison's been so good, just defensively creating her own offense by picking the pocket. Unfortunate that Vanderbilt couldn't convert there.
Green on the wing, left open is Kindred. And a foul. 6-12 on the season, 1-7 in conference play, picking up that win over Georgia.
And John, you see this Princeton-style offense from Vanderbilt. They're a team that their pace depends on the game plan. We've seen them get really up-tempo. We've seen them really slow it down. You see a little mix of that right now. If they can get out early in transition and score, we've already seen them trying to pick it up.
And outside of Giroud and Harbison, Shea Ralph mentioning this week that Sasha Washington has to be that third scoring option for Vanderbilt. Would like to see all 3 come out with strong performances in the same game.
Yeah, I mean, any coach wants to play inside out. It's just percentage basketball, and Sasha Washington has been getting those touches. She just has to finish consistently.
Sydney Bowles, the freshman star, one of the top recruiting classes for Texas A&M, with her 28th made 3 of the season, as the Aggies have built up an early 5-0 lead on Vanderbilt. A Vanderbilt team that's been decimated by injuries even before the start of the season. And so, Christy, they've been limited to just 8 active players on the roster. Harbison, no on the 3, as Washington tried to grab the loose rebound. But it's Texas A&M with possession.
And, I mean, John, you hit it on the head. It is so hard when you know what you can be, and yet you're limited by the injuries, because that's not just in game action. That's in practice, and that's what Shea Ralph just kept saying. It was nice to have this bye, because we could focus on ourselves. We could work on the things that we needed to. And she said a lot of it was offensive execution, but more importantly.
And she was very honest with us in our conversations with her yesterday, saying that she's never been more uncomfortable, and she is right there with this team in the foxhole.
Well, and by uncomfortable, I think losing's personal. At least it was for me as a coach, and I think it is for any coach. And what I interpreted when she said she's uncomfortable is she just wants her players to find success. And most people, non-conference schedule, but the injuries have taken its toll. But what I have seen is a group of players who every day have gotten better individually as well as a team. It's just the SEC schedule can be a gauntlet, and that's what has really hurt them here recently.
They started off with LSU, Ole Miss, Tennessee, South Carolina, and Arkansas, which they lost at the buzzer. They've had struggles so far today, 0-4 from the field to start.
And we can talk about the injuries for Texas A&M as well, but the one consistent for them was defense. They made you play ugly. They're going to take away that first or second option. Can you be mature enough on the offensive end to execute?
And what a play by Green, the junior out of Chicago, Illinois. Has 4 early points and a 7-0 run to open up this game for Texas A&M.
And when I use the term maturity, that's something I've seen growth. And you saw just how dynamic she was with that last finish.
And comes up with the steal. Rod left open for 3, no. And the rebound taken down by Kindred. Texas A&M, on the other hand, right now is playing with 10 deep. And so for Texas A&M, first chance we get to see 2 in maroon, that is Janiah Barker, strong to the basket.
And gets called for that charge.
3 turnovers in the early going for the Aggies. Again, for Barker, first game since November 30th versus Kansas. Had missed 10 games due to the...
They are both teachers. They have both been very patient with their players. And I think it's that teaching that they have done that's allowed these players to continue to develop during a really tough stretch of SEC play.
Barker draws the triple team as Sydney Bowles left open from the corner for three. What a start for the freshman, 6 points, and it's a 5-point lead for the Aggies.
I guarantee you Sydney Bowles might be one of the most ecstatic players to have Barker and Hilton back on the floor with her, because this is a three-point shooter that was forced to try to create off the bounce while they were on the bench injured, and now she can spot up and knock them down.
Harbison with an answer. She's got 5 of the first 7 for Vanderbilt. Leah Patty bringing it up, 32 in maroon, who had a career-high 11 assists versus Georgia. The facilitator that Joni Taylor said that she had asked Patty, the transfer from Ohio State, to embrace that role, and did so in a major way. Kindred with a nice spot-up jumper.
Kindred's a young player who I just think has gotten better and better as the season has gone. Reads screens extremely well. That time came off that down screen and knocked it down.
Aggies 5 of 7 to begin this game. Hot on the floor. Loose inside, and a takeaway leads to a turnover, the first for Vanderbilt in this game. Green at the point, has taken on that role, been the starter over the last 10 games for Texas A&M. Barker with a defender in her face, off the mark on the three. Bella Chance comes down with the rebound.
That's a shot by Barker. I would have loved to see her give Patty the pass down low, take advantage of Patty's height advantage on the block.
Good phonetic pace to this game. Allen spots up for three, knocks it down. Can't convert on the free throw. Aggies, meanwhile, the second youngest team in the SEC. They do have the number 3 recruiting class from 2022 on the floor. That includes Hilton, Bowles, and Barker.
And John, I love the defensive scheme by Vanderbilt so far. Whether it's been a man can work and execute a half-court offense, and so far it's helped.
And to your point, they only have one play.
Barker just to come off and build on what she did last weekend. But, I mean, that was a perfect storm for her, coming out against that 3-2 matchup with Georgia, her hometown state school. And so I think, again, you got to remember, Barker's a freshman. This is a young team for Texas A&M. They have not won on the road yet. So this is a big challenge for the Aggies here this afternoon.
She was limited because of the restriction of the injury to 21 minutes versus Georgia. Right now, 7 minutes, but on the bench with those 2 fouls. Let's see if Vanderbilt can somehow take advantage of the absence of Barker. Allen spotting up long range. And coming in is Maya Petticord, the freshman out of Detroit, Michigan, who's seeing her first action of the game for the Aggies.
Well, the scouting report on Petticord has to be, don't let her get hot. Because when this young lady sees one shot go down, they call her money because more is coming.
What a strong move and a right-hand finish by Aaliyah Patty, one of the few veterans on this team, gets her first 2 points. It's a 14-10 lead for Texas A&M.
Excuse me. You spoke of Patty.
Meniscus.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see Jones back on the floor right now. She missed the last 6 games with a back injury, so it's got to feel crazy good for the Aggies right now to have 10 players and to actually be able to use the bench right now.
But in this first quarter, Christy, keep in mind, foul trouble's been an issue. 3 players, Bowles, Barker, and Malone, all have 2 fouls for the Aggies.
And some of it might be they feel a little bit too much freedom defensively, but I think a lot of it's also give Vanderbilt credit. They have boxed out. We've seen some fouls on rebounds. We've seen some fouls in the half court. Vanderbilt is a team that you can tell looks really refreshed from that by anything to do with the ball.
Patty leads this team in rebounds and blocks. As an offense in this first quarter, could have asked for a better start for Texas A&M, shooting 64% from the field, despite the foul trouble to a couple of key players. Jones on the court for the first time, dealing with that back injury. Floater in the lane, knocked down, and KK Green is having herself a strong first quarter performance. The chance missing on that last free throw. That's been a strength for Vanderbilt, second in the conference in free throw percentage. About a 5 seconds difference between game clock and shot clock. Green with the right hand.
Shoot that three.
This should come as no surprise to Vanderbilt fans. They know how punchy the doors can be in the first quarter. Harbison with the crossover dribble. Foul. All-time leading score. A valuable piece to the puzzle for Shea Ralph. Green. His philosophy and her philosophy are mirror images of one another. Not going to change their approach. Going to let the players figure it out on the court. As second quarter underway, Harbison and Vanderbilt still looking for their first SEC win of the season after an 0-7 start to conference play. Allen gives it off to Washington. 15-foot jumper knocks down for the sophomore.
Well, we've talked about how Vanderbilt's undersized, but what I like is they're using what may be a disadvantage to their advantage. The smaller posts are stepping out away from the basket and looking for their shots here in this game.
Patty with the strong drive, count it, and the foul for the transfer from the only player on this roster that has played in over 100 career games for Texas A&M. Loose ball, a fight for it. There's Jones right in the thick of things for the Aggies. Tanea Hilton, 3 in maroon, making her first appearance off the bench for Joni Taylor.
Yeah, I'm eager to see how Hilton responds today. Had a lot of unforced turnovers against UGA this past Sunday. This is a young lady who's dynamic playmaker for the Aggies.
First shot goes down for Hilton, who missed 8 games due to a ligament injury in her foot. Joni Taylor saying this week that a little bit of rust and stubbornness, perhaps, versus Georgia that was credited to those 7 turnovers that she had.
Well, and the stubbornness just being she was really casual with the ball, and that's a thing as a guard, especially against a pressing team. Jones, who are coming back off of this extended break from injury.
Jones, another player back from injury for the Aggies. And Kindred stepped out of bounds.
Gerard or Harbison get a touch here in the half court. I'd like to see a shot opportunity for either one of these leading scorers for the team.
Shea Ralph mentioning that not only creating turnovers, but taking advantage of those turnovers. They forced Texas A&M into 6, but only have 2 points off those 6 turnovers. Here's Washington with a key offensive rebound. Leads to Harbison, open for 3. And Washington fighting opponent in the low post with Washington on the bench with 2 fouls. Boxing out, rebounding has been an Achilles heel this year for Vanderbilt. Jones, that one rattled in and out, but there is Patty right into her hands and back up for a second chance.
When you give effort on the glass, good things happen, and sometimes it's not a matter of you even grabbing it, it's just keeping it alive.
To an 8-point lead, largest lead so far in this game. And look at the comparison between wins and losses. 2 different directions, Christy, for this Vanderbilt program.
Absolutely, and we can look at when you're going to give up that much of a differential in terms of rebounds. And then when you throw in the turnover differential as well, I mean, you're giving the opponents almost 18 extra possessions in your losses than in your wins.
Floater in the lane, drop. The expectation of a certain role and now a completely different role based on the injuries. Lead down to 5 for Texas A&M. Patty picked up her second, so that makes it now 4 Aggies in this game with 2 fouls. Mackenzie Green, her first action off the bench for Joni Taylor. And they're going to call a traveling against.
Told us that. She goes, I expect their best shot because they're so well coached. They play so hard. But what I am seeing is just a new effort on the defensive end by Vanderbilt. They're so active and disruptive right now.
See the foul trouble building up for the Aggies, and that has breathed new life into Vanderbilt in the form of Harbison, who has been taking this team on her back. 12 points, 4 of 7 shooting on the floor for the St. Louis transfer.
Well, Joni Taylor told us she was really worried about Harbison in the pinch area because so good off the bounce. And I mean, she told us last night, she goes, I'm not sure how we're going to defend the on-ball screen because I'm not sure anything's going to work against this young lady.
Steal by Harbison. She takes it, hits the deck.
The bench.
Harbison taking a rest, having made her own 7-0 run for Vanderbilt to get them within one. By the way, Kindred picked up her second, so that now has 5 Aggies with 2 fouls in this game.
Well, and I got to believe Harbison, despite the fact that she is so hot, this is knowing the media breaks coming up at under 5. Shea Ralph just trying. And that's been an issue for the Aggies throughout the SEC season. Averaging almost, or their opponents are averaging almost 19 points a game off of those miscues. They've got to take care of the basketball.
Gerard has been.
And then 11 points from the free throw line. That's a combination of 20 of their 24 points in the game.
Hilton at the point. Off the wing to Green. Now a double team comes in the trap. Hilton trying to look down low. Finds Jada Malone. You can catch. Sophomore campaign after leading all freshmen in points per game, rebounds, and minutes per last season. 28-24, Texas A&M on top of Vanderbilt. Doors still looking for their first conference win of the season. Gerard looking for some help. Chambers has had a quiet first half. Spin move and the nice finish with the right hand.
And I love that Chambers got the ball at the high post. Knowing she's undersized, allowed her to become a guard, basically. She faced up, took the slower Malone off the bounce to get to the rim.
Chambers, the senior out of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, with her first 2 points of the game. Gets Vanderbilt back within 2. Malone to Kindred. Too strong on the jumper. Chambers there on the rebounds. Bella LaChance, 21 in gold for Vanderbilt, getting some quality minutes in this first half. Gerard launches from 3, and Vanderbilt.
Well, on the season for Gerard, she has been that consistent three-point shooter for Vanderbilt. Had missed her first couple, that time knocks it down.
Her 58 made threes, Christie #1 in the SEC. That one vital to give Vanderbilt of the SEC standings. They don't want to play in the first round of the SEC tournament as they did a season ago.
I mean, John, you've hit it on the head. It makes it very difficult to try to win the tournament when you're playing for 4 straight days. And I think,
Vanderbilt played, and that was a game that even Coach Ralph had to scratch her head a little bit on the performance, primarily based on the fatigue, because when you're playing with 8 active players, at some point, fatigue is going to set in for a team like this.
Absolutely, and I don't think anyone can understand what 3 games in 6 days, how difficult that is. And we can talk physical, I think mental as well. And for Shea Ralph, 2 of those games.
Breaker in terms of losing it at the buzzer on a half-court shot. Meanwhile, for Texas A&M, you've got 6 players with 2 fouls. You've got Jada Malone, the sophomore, who on that last possession picked up her 3rd foul. And yet they only trailed by 1 with under 3 minutes to go in the first half.
And you see Barker back on the floor for the Aggies.
Kindred. And Washington comes down with it. Vanderbilt currently on a 12-3 run. They've been hot as of late. Washington left alone for 3, nothing but net. And Vanderbilt has stretched it out to a 4-point lead.
So if I'm Texas A&M, once I get the ball into the half court, I would like to see Barker get the touch, maybe in the high post. Let her be a facilitator, a passer, because I'm sure she's going to attract a lot of attention.
Missed opportunity on the offensive side for the Aggies. And they give it right back. And number 15, Auburn against Terry Roberts in Georgia at 7 Eastern. And then K.J. Williams and LSU taking on Kobe Brown and Missouri. 2 great games, some of the conference's top teams that we are going to see in action. And I know that just tells you someone who played under and coached under Gino Auriemma. Never satisfied is Shea Ralph. And the fouls have been an issue so far in this first half. 18 per game they averaged as Texas A&M, already with 15, with a couple of players with 3. Barker in and out, still looking for her first 2 points of the game. Harbison in a flash. What a motor she has as one of the floor generals.
Well, and that's a veteran move. She realizes no one ever stopped her in transition, so she just kept going all the way to the rim.
A 19-3 run now in over 6 minutes for Vanderbilt.
All the way by myself.
No player for Texas A&M in double figures. Patty has 9 on the bench with 2 fouls as they try to work it inside on her skill set level.
Well, there's been nothing but buzz about Janiah Barker's game ever since she had originally signed with Joni Taylor and staff at UGA and then made the decision to follow them to Texas A&M. This is a young lady who is nothing but spectacular. Her personality's dynamic. Her game is dynamic.
The highest recruit in Texas A&M program history. About a 7-second difference between game clock and shot clock. Jones, off balance 3, fight for it.
The effect that Barker has on her team. It's not just the points, it's the rebounding, it's the defense, it's the length, it's the ability to facilitate through this young lady that makes this team so much better.
Texas A&M has gone over 5 minutes without a made field goal. Down by 6, make it 8. Harbison has just been on fire in this game. 18 points on 6 of 9 shooting. And the first half, A&M, Christie, was fouls. 15 fouls with a number of players having 2 or more fouls in that first half.
Absolutely. I mean, it's hard to get any kind of chemistry going offensively. It's hard to get any flow going when players are going in and out because of difficulties. And the key for A&M is just be more composed. No more over-the-back fouls. No more fouls in rebounding. Yes, be aggressive, but know that there's a player in front of you. Take what the defense gives you and just minimize. And John, you're seeing this 1-3-1 zone. Very few teams have a full arsenal against this 1-3-1.
Trying to get it off the inbounds play to Washington. Held on to it. And a foul committed by the sophomore Kindred. Now on the bench with 4 fouls. Malone and Green each with 3. So Petticourt comes off the bench for Joni Taylor, who I think in this situation, Christy, you would agree, is fortunate to have more than 7 players on the roster. Mind when those 7 players were the only active on the roster for the Aggies. Joni Taylor, during finals break, had 5 at practice, and she entered that week saying, you know, we're going to practice, we're going to find out quickly who you are. As Bowles off the mark with the 3, and she talked about that SMU game being that pivotal game to which, if they did not win, the direction of the season.
And watching it and knowing it was key, because SMU, first of all, is good. Second of all, we all know about the rivalries within the state of Texas, so that was big. But knowing how depleted this team was due to injuries, for this team to bounce back, play together, I thought was absolutely huge for the season.
A&M has missed their last 10 shots, trailed by 8. Harbison, great bounce pass in the low post.
And John, more importantly, Malone was there for the rotation. She saved 2 points there for Texas A&M.
Brown on the takeaway, leads to transition. This is what Vanderbilt likes to do. Go up-tempo in transition. Chambers, one-on-one with Patty, counted, and the foul. Has multiple singles released on Spotify. Just got a violin this past Christmas and learning how to play it. Very talented on and off the court. Still no answer by A&M. That's 11 in a row missed by the Aggies. Second chance. Both head coaches to their players this week about figuring it out on the court. Can't just keep looking over at the bench every time.
You're easy to scout if you're a team that every play is coming from the coach, because especially come conference time, you're well scouted. Teams will take away, and I love what both coaches were saying. For Shea Ralph, she said, I realized from watching film, from watching my players, that they had to start figuring things out. So she said, that's how we dictated practices this week. Joni Taylor
Here's
knew
Brown.
it in the preseason.
Left
And
open for 3.
It has been their defense has let them down. The second part has been turnovers, as we're seeing here yet again today.
Full court pressure applied by this defense. Able to break through is Hilton. Has had a quiet performance in her second game back. Patty with the offensive rebound leads to second chance points. As She's in double figures with 11.
And that's a great just response by Texas A&M. First shot not there. Resiliency, which is what you have to have on the road.
Gerard with the last made bucket. She's into double figures with 10. Part of that dynamic duo with her and Harbison, the transfer from Boston College, who's been an integral part to the lineup for Shea Ralph. Barker down low to Patty, splits the double team. A beautiful move from the transfer from Ohio State, who's got the last 4 for the Aggies.
And that was great mature offense by Texas A&M. Realizing the mismatch down low with Patty, they get it into her.
She had the career high 11 assists versus Georgia today, 6 of 6 from the floor. Allen off the three-point miss into the hands of Bowles. Hilton to the corner. Bowles trying to feed it inside the pad clock hour. And then we're going to go to Mizzou Arena in Columbia for Vandy and Missouri. Another great night of hoops right here on the S.
Well, I'll one-up you. I think everyone's talking about tomorrow night, first of all, with LSU having Tennessee coming to town.
Carolina still has to face UConn coming up on February 5th.
Well, bottom line, if you're basketball. And it's time for Texas A&M to get back to what they've been doing well, and that's playing defense. Already given up 51 points. They only have allowed opponents 52 on the season.
Empty possession for Vanderbilt as Texas A&M trying to get this game down to single digits. Green the double team. Great feed, finding an open Barker in stride. .6-0 run for the Aggies as Barker with her first made field goal of the day. Has 4 rebounds and 2 assists to her credit. Allen off the feed from Gerard, knocks it down from beyond the arc.
Well, Leah Patty got caught having to help because her teammate fell down. Great extra pass by Vanderbilt to find Allen for the 3.
Allen's been putting up some impressive points. 6 in 10 minutes of action. Off the steal, Harbison to the deck. And what a turnaround it's been for Vanderbilt so far in terms of points off turnovers. 17 off the 13 from Texas A&M. 3 answered by Hilton.
And John, we're talking about 2 teams who have struggled consistently throughout SEC play to score. And now, here in the third quarter, we're getting offense.
Just saw a jolt of energy over the last 2 minutes in this third quarter by both sides. Great backdoor cut. Allen free throws makes it a 57-46 lead for Vanderbilt. As Texas A&M looking to somehow rally here in the later stages of this third quarter.
No, and I don't want A&M. I mean, they're not going to get back in this game in one possession. They're shooting quickly, some threes as we just saw.
This Vanderbilt team was put behind the 8 ball, and they have fought their
process, get better every day. And this is a team that's rejuvenated since their bye. They're executing well. As we see Allen get the easy look down low. You just see confidence right now. And where does confidence come from a lot of times? Just reps, finding success in practice.
Allen up to 8 points, 3 of 5 shooting in 11 minutes on the floor for the Doors. Jones returning for the team at 10 Eastern time. And then we'll go all access with the LSU men's program. You'll get never-before-seen footage and sound from players and coaches. A real behind-the-scenes look right here on the SEC Network. As Washington with a response on the other end for Vanderbilt. KK Green, the junior, beautiful move with the layup and finish.
And that's what I mean. The press hasn't necessarily turned A&M over, but they've been settling for shots. Love that shot by KK Green of getting all the way to the rim.
former 5-star recruit. She's into double figures along with Patty. 11 for the junior from Chicago. Off the backboard and in for Harbison, who continues to build upon her point total, make it 23 points here for the transfer from St. Louis. Hilton goes right through that defense of Vanderbilt and has an answer. Missed 10 games due to a fractured wrist, inner shooting hand. Suffered that injury November 30th versus Kansas, but on the bench with 4 fouls. Kindred also has 4. Washington in front of a double team. No. Trying to sky in for the rebound was Washington. And there's a tie-up with Malone.
Stepping out of bounds, so therefore Texas A&M ball.
So, Christy, build me the blueprint then. If you're Texas A&M, how do you break this deficit knowing the type of foul trouble that you have at this point? As Jones counted in that last foul.
Yeah, sorry, John, I was going to say, and then probably more
Washington.
importantly, the defense needs to come to play now.
I agree with you on that point. 11-point lead. Make it a 14-point lead. Harbison from beyond the arc. 26 points for Kaija Harbison.
And maybe more specifically right now, you need to make someone else besides Harbison beat you, because defense is near her. It does not matter. This young lady is on fire.
Her career best, 34 versus NC State. She's now got 9 games of 20 or more points. Reason why she's second in the conference in scoring. Green thought about it, drives right through. Good look to Malone, off glass and in.
So 4 straight field goals for Texas A&M. Where have they come from? At the rim. Much better job executing for the Aggies. And now, can they get a stop? Can someone else be forced to score besides Harbison? And no is the answer.
But that's pretty hard to repeat more than once. Lead up to 14 under a minute to play in this third quarter. Mackenzie Green, 23 in maroon. 10 left on the shot clock for Hilton. One-on-one with Brown. Down to 5. The feed from Patty down low to Malone. Good defense in front of her. Now Vanderbilt can hold for the final shot of this third quarter. Down to 5 for Harbison. Spots up, knocks down the 15.
She's risen to the occasion in a big way here this afternoon.
Aggies have some work to do if they're going to climb back and try to make it back-to-back conference victories. Malone, the kick out to Green. Defender in her face and still knocks down the three-point shot.
Great ball movement by Texas A&M. Ball reversal, ball goes inside, ball goes out. That's a high percentage look.
By the way, offensively for Vandy, that was just the third quarter this year out of 87 where Vandy went for 30 or more in a quarter, as they have stretched it out to a double-digit lead here to start off this fourth quarter.
Well, and if I'm Texas A&M, no need to panic. It is one possession at a time, but it needs to be 5 players executing, and there.
The fresh 20 for Texas A&M. Patty, 13 points, looking for more. Texas A&M, 15 of them, and the opportunities that Vanderbilt has been able to capitalize off those turnovers.
Absolutely, and then when you add in the free throws that A&M has allowed Vanderbilt to convert, it's just been a perfect storm for Vanderbilt to exploit, and unfortunately for A&M, they're just digging a hole.
Just saw Barker before using that 6'4" length to her advantage on the rebound.
Vanderbilt
Hilton,
switching
the
all
talented
these
sophomore.
screens.
Green inside, great feed to Malone for the bucket.
Again, another high percentage look for A&M, using their height advantage, being patient, getting that high-low pass for Malone to go score. And A&M switching to a 2-3 matchup now in the half court.
Harbison works it inside, good passing. Chambers left alone, one-on-one with Malone. Good defense there by the sophomore as Barker wants to run. Malone.
The first and most important game is right now, finishing this fourth quarter to try to get that first win in SEC play.
Georgia and Missouri, two teams on the bubble, according to Charlie Cream. I think the interesting one is in that 4 spot. Is it Ole Miss? Is it Alabama? Who's the 4th best team right now in the conference? As Green lets it fly. Big play out of the timeout for Texas A&M to cut it to single digits.
Well, if you look head-to-head, you've got to go with Alabama right now, who beat Ole Miss on the road, who beat Arkansas on the road. I think today's game, Ole Miss at Arkansas, is huge in terms of how that 4th place potentially could shake out.
Alabama has won 3 straight on the road for the 2nd time.
This fourth quarter, they're taking better care of the ball. They're getting high percentage looks. And KK Green is starting to heat up here offensively for the Aggies as well.
Came in shooting over 60% after her last 3 games. 17 points today. Barker back on the board. Make that now 8 points for the freshman star. 2 of 4 shooting, along with the 6 rebounds. And it's back down to an 8-point deficit for the Aggies. Harbison, short. 2 great games that you can check out on the ESPN app and here on the SEC Network. .635 left to go. Vanderbilt with
by Vanderbilt. You realize A&M starting to get in a flow offensively. They've been able to exploit it and get the ball inside, extend the defense. Unfortunately, though, Gerard picks up the foul.
Inside.
Down low. That time they had that with Malone and got the foul.
Barker's got to be careful playing with the 4. Spin around fader does not drop for the freshman. Harbison players for Texas A&M. 2 of them on the floor right now playing with those 4 fouls. Chambers on the baseline, kicks it out to Harbison. Back to the corner and a miscommunication.
Back on offense. And if I'm A&M, you cannot think about the fouls. You have to get aggressive offensively. And what I mean by that, don't force things, but ball reversal against this zone, and then look to get the ball inside.
Off the miss, Malone.
What won't show up in the stat sheet is just how good she has been defensively.
Years at Georgia, SEC Coach of the Year, multiple appearances in the NCAA tournament for Joni Taylor. Meanwhile, stat to keep in mind down the stretch, Texas A&M 15-0 in second chance points. Reason why they've been able to keep it close with Vanderbilt. Washington has to be careful playing with those 4 fouls. Harbison, and she was bumped by
25 points here this afternoon.
Trying to get it off the inbounds. Washington blocked by Barker and mishandling
Barker to give her the outlet pass there.
An uncharacteristic mistake made by the junior point guard, KK Green. Harbison gives it off to Washington. High off glass. Forcing it. Gets it right back. Left to Harbison for 3. Got it to go.
Great decision by Washington to kick it out. One of the highest percentage looks in our game is the second chance opportunity from 3, and Harbison just makes the Aggies pay.
She matches her season high with 34 points. Did so earlier in the year against NC State. Been a focal point all year long for Vanderbilt. They've had issues boxing out. They're last in the SEC in rebounding. LaChance spots up for an open 3 and knocks it down. How about that for Bella LaChance?
I'm just going to be honest. I was going to be like, no, no, no. And then I was like, yes, when it went down. I thought that was a little early for Vanderbilt, but great job by LaChance.
What an answer for Vanderbilt to extend this lead back to double digits, 81-69 as we close upon the final 4 minutes. Hilton with a great drive and a finish with the right hand.
Again, A&M getting to the rim. No need to panic, but Texas A&M has to get a stop here defensively.
Allen looking for help. Back up to LaChance. They work it to Harbison on the right wing. Short jumper dropped for Harbison. 36 points on the day for Kaija Harbison.
And if you're Vanderbilt, you can't ask for more. You got ball reversal. You took some time off the clock. Then you got it to your leading scorer, who just went to work. What a beautiful shot.
A new season high, 36 points, 12 of 16 shooting for Kaija Harbison, carrying this team on her back. Patty, great feed, left hand. Vanderbilt scores. Texas A&M has an answer. Do they have a run late in this game?
Well, there's not going to be a run if they can't get a stop defensively. So somehow they have got to make someone else score here besides Harbison.
The give off to Washington. It's going to be an incredible watch. Check it out. Southern Hoops, a history of SEC basketball. Three from Hilton in the corner. No.
And so not time for A&M to foul yet at all, but I've said the last couple of trips, they have got to get a stop defensively.
Vanderbilt's knocked down their last three shots. Shea Ralph wants a timeout with 11. Harbison now has a career-high tying 36 points. That equals what she posted against St. Bonaventure back on September 9th of 2022.
Huge rebound for Vanderbilt. Huge.
Interesting to think that the Achilles heel.
But as well, only 8 turnovers on the afternoon. A team that came in averaging 15. They've taken care of the ball. They've converted at the free throw line, and they've taken advantage of the miscues of Texas A&M.
Harbison at the point.
And Harbison's been great too.
Chantel Anderson, who's in attendance for this game, former SEC Player of the Year, has the record for points in a game with 41. Harbison's only 5 away from tying that as a missed opportunity on the layup. And now you got to think, if you're the Aggies, you got to start fouling.
Absolutely, and it doesn't look like they are.
Not with Harbison at the point with her 36 points. Sees a lane, drives it. That type of day for Kaija Harbison. A new career high, 38 points on the day for Vanderbilt.
She's fast, and she's so good at turning the corner off of that high on-ball screen.
Barker launches off a 3 off the mark. Held to 9 points in this game along with 9 rebounds. Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? Points in a game in Vanderbilt program history with the 41.
You brought up Chantel Anderson's 41 points about a minute ago, and I'm like, she's not going to get to it. And Harbison just continues to make.
Now the question becomes, Harbison, does she get the record? She's got 41.
A&M's not going to foul. I imagine Shea Ralph's just going to let this clock go down as low as possible and then just have her go to work and try to get to the rim.
Shot clock down to 10. One-on-one is Harbison with Mackenzie Green. Crossover dribble. Spots up. Front ironed it. And Texas A&M on the road is going to fall to Vanderbilt here this afternoon. Patty, one last heave, knocks